Stranger Things had a lot of monsters, but here's the thing most people don't realize. They weren't all equal. There was a hierarchy, a food chain, a chain of command that connected every single creature from the Upside Down, from the smallest vine to the most ancient evil in the entire show. And once you understand that hierarchy, the whole show makes a lot more sense. Today we're breaking down all 7 levels of monsters in Stranger Things, from the bottom of the food chain all the way up to the thing that was pulling every single string from the very beginning. Every creature in the Upside Down was part of one giant living system. They shared a hive mind. They moved together. They hunted together. And they were all working toward the same goal, even if you didn't realize it until the very end. Everything in this video is pulled from all 5 seasons of Stranger Things. This covers the complete run, seasons 1 through 5. So if you haven't finished, this is your spoiler warning. Alright, Level 1. Let's start at the very bottom of the food chain. Level 1, the vines. These are the creepy, dark tendrils that cover every surface of the Upside Down. They show up in Season 1 when Hopper and Joyce find Will strapped to a wall, completely wrapped in them. They come back in Season 2, trapping Hopper inside underground tunnels, and they're still there in the later seasons as Vecna uses them to extend his own psychic reach. Most people look at the vines and think they're just decoration. They're not. The vines are part of the Mind Flayer's hive mind, biologically connected to everything else in the Upside Down, including the Demogorgons. They can move, they can restrain people, and in Season 5, Vecna used them to physically stab a military soldier through the back of the skull. They look like plants. They act like weapons. Level 2. The Flayed. One step up from the vines, we have the Flayed. And this one is much more disturbing because the Flayed used to be people. The Flayed are victims whose bodies were taken over. It started with rats, then moved to humans. Once a person was flayed, they became part of the Mind Flayer's hive mind and could communicate like normal people, while secretly serving the monster. In Season 3, Billy Hargrove is the most prominent example. He gets possessed, starts luring people to the Mind Flayer, and completely loses himself in the process. His co-worker Heather gets taken, then her parents, then Billy's boss and other Hawkins residents. The horror with the Flayed isn't that they're monsters, it's that they look normal. They walk around town, they talk to you, and then they melt, which brings us to the next level. Level 3, the Spider Monster and the Hospital Monster. This is what happens when enough Flayed victims merge together. In Season 3, all those possessed Hawkins residents eventually dissolve. Their bodies literally liquidate and combine into one massive creature. The Hospital Monster is made from the sinews of flayed victims, and the Spider Monster, the giant creature at Starcourt Mall, is made from the bodies of dozens of those same people. The Spider Monster stands around 30 feet tall, crushes cars, and smashes through glass ceilings. It's essentially the Mind Flayer's attempt to build itself a physical body out of human remains, and the Mind Flayer can see and feel through it, meaning every attack on that body is felt through the entire hive mind. The way to hurt it? Fire. Heat is the one consistent weakness every creature from the Upside Down shares, but the Spider Monster is still just a tool, a puppet. The real intelligence is operating it from somewhere else. Level 4, the Demobats. Now we move to the flying hunters of the Upside Down. Demobats feed on living creatures. They swarm their prey and bite and claw them, and like the rest of the demo creatures, they share a hive mind and are affected when others in the hive mind suffer. They first appear in Season 4 when Steve, Nancy, and Robin get trapped in the Upside Down version of the Creel House. Steve gets absolutely swarmed, dragged underwater, nearly drowned, and in one of the most painful moments of the entire series, a swarm of Demobats is what kills Eddie Munson at the end of Season 4. He held them off with his guitar, playing Metallica in the most epic scene the show ever gave us, and they overwhelmed him. The Demobats can fly, they hunt in swarms, and they're native to the Abyss, which, as we'll get into shortly, is the dimension even below the Upside Down. These aren't random wild animals. They're part of the hive, following orders like everything else. Level 5, Demogorgons and Demodogs. Here's where we hit the most iconic monster in the entire show. The Demogorgon is what Season 1 is built around. It's the creature that took Will Byers. It's what hunted Barb at the pool. It's the thing that made people across the world scream at their screens in 2016. Demogorgons are vicious and bloodthirsty, humanoid in shape with a flower-like mouth full of rows of sharp teeth. They have enormous strength and a body that resists bullets. They can open their own temporary gates between the real world and the Upside Down, drag victims through and carry them back to feed or use later. and they get smarter over time. By season 4, they'd learn to climb walls and rip things apart more efficiently. Demodogs are the adolescent form of the same creature. Dustin famously raised one as a pet, naming him Dart. Before realizing what it was becoming, Dart grew at an alarming rate and eventually joined a pack with his fellow kind as a lethal monster. By season 5, Demogorgons are being used by Vecna as a literal army, sent out in packs to hunt, kidnap, and terrorize Hawkins while the bigger plan plays out. But here's the critical thing to understand. Demogorgons are not in charge. They don't think independently in any meaningful way. The Mind Flayer exercises supreme control over the Upside Down through a psychic link, connecting all entities, including Demogorgons. When 11 destroyed the Demogorgon in Season 1, the Mind Flayer felt it. When the Demodogs died in Season 2, the Hive Mind registered every single loss. These are the shock troops. Dangerous beyond belief. But they're following orders. Level 6, Vecna. This is where the show gets deep, because Vecna isn't just a monster. He's Henry Creel, a human being who chose this path. As a child, Henry discovered he had psychic powers. He used them to kill animals, then his family, then a lab full of scientists. After 11 blasted him into the Upside Down in 1979, he found the Abyss, a dimension even beyond the Upside Down, and discovered the Mind Flayer dormant there. In 1986, Vecna declared himself the true ruler of the Upside Down, explaining how he had refashioned the Mind Flayer entity into its current form upon discovering it in the Abyss. He gave it its spider-like shape. He activated it. He believed he was using it as a weapon, and his method of killing, completely unique to him. He would find teenagers with trauma and grief, people carrying guilt they couldn't escape, slip into their minds, show them their worst memories, and use their terror to open gates between worlds. Chrissy Cunningham, Fred Benson, Patrick McKinney, Max Mayfield. Each death opened a gate. 4 gates cracked Hawkins open at the end of Season 4. In Season 5, Vecna came back stronger, more armored, more powerful, and shifted his strategy to kidnapping children and using them as vessels to merge the Abyss with the real world permanently. He was the general, the strategist, the face of evil for the final 2 seasons. But he wasn't the top of the food chain. Season 5 delivered a big revelation. Ever since he was a child, Henry had been under the influence of the Mind Flayer. He was corrupted by the evil shadow entity that was the true mastermind all along. So in a strange way, Henry's death is nothing short of tragic. He thought he was the one in control. He wasn't. Level 7, the Mind Flayer. This is it. The top of the food chain. The creature that was pulling every single string, in every single season, from the very beginning. The Mind Flayer is a group intelligence that existed in a myriad of different physical forms, all controlled and transmitted through silver-black particles. It's not just a monster, it's more like a force, an ancient alien intelligence that predates everything we see in the show. According to Dustin, the Mind Flayer is so ancient it doesn't even know its true home. It originated in the Abyss, a dimension that exists parallel to and beneath the Upside Down. It controlled everything. The Vines, the Demogorgons, the Demodogs, the Demobats, the Flayed. Every monster in the show was connected to it. And here's the twist the finale revealed. Despite Vecna claiming supreme control over the Hive Mind, the relationship between him and the Mind Flayer was extremely ambiguous. The dormant entity was already a living organism with its own sentience and intelligence, and multiple accounts suggested the Mind Flayer was actually the source of Henry's powers. Vecna didn't create the Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer may have created him. In the Season 5 finale, the gang travels all the way to the Abyss, the Mind Flayer's home dimension, to find it in its true form. As they approached the Pain Tree, Vecna's lair, it transformed into a new massive form, a giant, crab-like creature, the Mind Flayer's true body. The whole gang fought it on the ground. Fire, spears, flamethrowers, explosions, while 11 fought Vecna inside the Hive Mind at the same time. The Mind Flayer's physical body was killed and Vecna was mortally wounded, bringing an end to their reign of terror. Joyce Byers delivered the final blow to Vecna, cutting off his head with an axe, and then Hopper and Murray detonated a bomb in the Upside Down, collapsing the wormhole between dimensions for good. 7 levels of monsters, 1 interconnected system of evil, and it took every single person in Hawkins working together to bring it all down. And that's the complete monster hierarchy of Stranger Things. All 7 levels, from the Vines at the bottom to the ancient Mind Flayer at the top. What's wild is that the whole show makes so much more sense when you look at it this way. Every season wasn't introducing a new random threat. It was slowly peeling back the layers of the same system, getting closer and closer to the real thing underneath. Drop a comment below. Which level scared you the most? For me, it's the flayed. Because the idea that someone you know could be secretly controlled and you'd never know, that's way scarier than any monster with claws. If you want more breakdowns like this, full lore explanations, hidden details, ranked lists from Stranger Things, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.